When Hollywood Insider revealed that Diana Gabaldon, the creator of Outlander, had agreed to a rare, unfiltered interview, no one imagined what would unfold. The headline alone sent the fandom into chaos. They were never just co-stars. Within hours, the internet blazed with speculation. Fans everywhere asked the same breathless question: what did Diana truly mean? Was she finally confirming what millions had whispered for years, that something deeper existed between Sam Wan and Caitriona Balfe? In her quiet New Mexico study, surrounded by decades of manuscripts, Diana began at the beginning. "I remember their first chemistry test," she said with a wistful smile. "We were behind the monitor, and when Sam looked at her, that wasn't acting. It was instinct, as if they'd known each other forever." She recalled the casting team falling silent. The scene ended, but Sam and Caitriona didn't move. They stayed there, breathing the same air, tied together by something unseen. Right then, Diana said, "I knew Outlander had found its heart. And maybe they'd found something else, too." In those early seasons, the Scottish Highlands became their entire world. Long hours, freezing nights, isolation far from home. According to Diana, that was where the true bond took root. "They leaned on each other," she said. "It wasn't glamour, it was survival, emotional, creative, human." She laughed gently, remembering the small things: Caitriona bringing Sam hot tea between takes, or Sam refusing to leave set until she finished a grueling scene. "If she's freezing, I'm freezing," he'd said. That wasn't a line from a script. That was devotion. As Outlander grew into a global phenomenon, so did the obsession with its leads. Audiences stopped treating Jamie and Claire as fictional. People wanted them to be real, Diana recalled. And that created a pressure I could feel even from the sidelines. She witnessed the shift up close. During one emotionally devastating scene from season 2, she stood behind the camera as Sam and Caitriona performed a farewell so raw it felt almost invasive to watch. When the director called, "Cut," Sam didn't move. Tears still streamed down his face. Caitriona touched his arm gently. For a moment, the entire set felt suspended inside something deeply private. That was the first time Diana admitted she saw the line between acting and truth blur. "There was love there," she said quietly, "but not the kind that fits neatly into any word." By the time filming began for Outlander 2026, the long-awaited final season, years of partnership had created something unspoken between them: trust, affection, weariness, and a history too heavy to hide. "You could see it," Diana said, "in how they avoided eye contact between takes, or laughed a little too quickly, like they were masking something deeper." Rumors never stopped swirling, and both actors learned to deflect gracefully. But on set, Diana still caught glimpses of the truth. One late night in Glasgow, Sam forgot a line, almost unheard of. He laughed it off, but Caitriona watched him with a mix of worry and tenderness. After the scene, she whispered something to him, and he nodded. When she walked away, he wiped his eyes. No one ever mentioned it again. As Diana recounted the memory, her voice softened. "People always ask if they were together," she said. "The truth is, I don't think even they could define it. It was deeper than friendship, but it didn't follow the rules of romance. It was an understanding." She paused, glancing toward the window where desert sunlight spilled across her desk. "That's what made him special, and what made it hurt." Near the end of the interview, the journalist asked whether the world would ever know the full story of Sam and Caitriona. Diana smiled, though something flickered in her eyes. "Maybe," she said, "but not yet. Some stories need time, and some truths the world isn't ready to hear." Then she leaned forward, lowering her voice as if offering a secret. "But I'll tell you this. On the final day of filming Outlander 2026, I saw something I'll never forget. In that moment, I realized the truth, one the world was never meant to see." Her words hung in the air like a riddle, a promise, and a warning. The cameras had stopped rolling, but everyone knew the story wasn't finished. When the interviewer pressed her, "What truth?" Diana hesitated. She stared at her hands for a long moment, deciding whether to say it at all. At last she breathed out. "It happened on their last day filming together," she began quietly. The final scene of Outlander 2026. Cast and crew gathered on a misty Highland morning, thick with nostalgia. After nearly a decade as Jamie and Claire, Sam and Caitriona were about to speak their last lines. Diana stood behind the monitors, watching through the drifting rain. It wasn't just another scene, she said. It was a farewell, not only for the characters, but for the people behind them. When the cameras rolled, Sam and Caitriona didn't just perform. They felt. Each look, each word, carried the weight of 10 years of shared laughter, pain, and history. The crew stood frozen as they delivered their final goodbye. Then the director called, "Cut." But they didn't let go, Diana continued. They stayed wrapped in each other's arms long after. Caitriona whispered something I couldn't hear. Sam closed his eyes, and I saw a tear fall. The set went silent, not awkward, but sacred. And when they finally pulled apart, it was like watching two souls say goodbye in real life. That moment, she said, changed how I saw them forever. People always ask if they were in love. The truth, Diana whispered, is yes. But not the way you think. It wasn't romance. It wasn't possession. It was something purer. They loved each other through the work, through the art, through everything they created together. And when the story ended, they had to release that love. The interviewer, moved, asked if they'd ever spoken to her about it. Diana nodded. A few days later, Caitriona called me and said, I didn't realize how hard it would be to say goodbye to him. And when I saw Sam at the wrap party, he just smiled and said, it's strange, isn't it? When someone becomes part of who you are. She smiled tenderly. They were never dramatic about it. They didn't have to be. You could feel everything between them without a word. Diana went on to explain how protective she had always felt of them. They carried my story with such honesty that sometimes I forgot it wasn't real. But I also saw what it cost them. Fame cuts both ways. The world adored their chemistry, but the pressure, it chipped at them. There were times, she said, when they both wanted to walk away, not from each other, but from everything surrounding them. They didn't want to lose the bond that held them together. She paused. And they never did. When asked what she'd say to fans convinced Sam and Caitriona hid a romance, Diana chuckled softly. People always want labels, friendship, love, soulmates. But some connections live beyond language. What they shared can't be categorized. It was real, but it was theirs. Then she added something that lingered long after the interview ended. Outlander was never just fiction. It was a mirror. And through Jamie and Claire, Sam and Caitriona learned how to love, how to lose, how to let go. That's why the story felt alive, because part of it truly was. After the interview aired, the fandom erupted. Diana's quotes spread like wildfire. They loved each other through the work. It wasn't acting anymore. The truth was between the lines. Sam and Caitriona stayed silent, but fans noticed something. On Caitriona's Instagram, she posted a soft photo of the Scottish sky with the caption, "Grateful for every chapter." A day later, Sam posted a photo from what was clearly the same sky, captioned, "The same sky, different angle." And beneath it, "Some stories never really end." The internet detonated. But Diana, watching quietly from New Mexico, felt only calm. "Let them wonder," she said when asked about the posts. "Some mysteries are meant to stay beautiful." As the interview concluded, she leaned back, her voice gentle but sure. The truth about Sam and Caitriona, she said with a knowing smile, was never about scandal. It was about connection, the kind that outlives the story itself. And with that, the woman who created their world closed the final page of the tale she began, leaving millions of hearts aching, and believing once more that some loves are too real to fade.